I mean, my baby's just won outright. I can't give up on him now.
Welcome to Better Win Green, to Better Win Green, to Better Win Green.
Welcome into Intentional Lounging, brought to you by Better and Green. We are back for week 4 with an awesome slate for you guys. We were changing things around a little bit. Intentional Lounging has been the same this is a third season, but just about 2 years of the same. We're going to still break down all the games. We're just going to consolidate the ones that we all agree on, make these episodes a little quicker for you guys, but you still get all the picks. We're going to have a 30-second shot clock for each pick that we agree on. We already picked our games. And guys, also, because we take our picks seriously, we're going to have a punishment every week now, and we're going to show it in the beginning of every episode. So make sure you guys come back every week for it. This upcoming week, the loser, boys, the one with the worst record, and I believe if we tie for the worst record, that means multiple people have to do the punishment. So you're not safe. You're not safe if you tie. So we have 1 minute of stand-up here on Better and Green before we start the episode. So next week, you're going to get a minute from somebody. But here are our plays that we all agree on. We all agree on Jacksonville plus 6.5 versus Houston, Chicago minus 2.5 versus Rams, San Fran minus 10 versus New England, Las Vegas minus 1.5 versus Cleveland, and Baltimore minus 2.5 versus Buffalo. Wyatt, let's go to you first with this Jacksonville plus 6.5 game. 30 seconds, go.
Yeah, pretty ugly game. Jacksonville looked disgusting last week on primetime. Everyone saw it, but Houston also lost. Houston lost to the Vikings in a disgusting manner as well. So seeing a 7-point spread to two teams that lost very bad is a little alarming. I understand Houston has a much better offense, much better projection going forward, but just seems like way too many points here. So especially with how well the underdogs have done this season, I think we're going to take the underdog one more time, so I'm rolling with Jacksonville on the spread.
All right, Ethan, Chicago minus 2.5.
Yeah, this one's gross, but I mean, the line doesn't make a ton of sense, so I think it's why we're kind of all in agreement here. The Rams off a big win against a banged-up Niners team. The Rams also banged up, so I think it's kind of a breathe easy spot. They avoided going down 0-3 to start the season. And Chicago, you know, they need a win. They're at home. Like I said, the line doesn't make a ton of sense. I think we're all just kind of riding the defense here. Chicago's defense is the superior side of the ball. LA defense, LA offense, Chicago offense, not very good. So we're going to take Chicago's defense to carry us to a win by a field goal.
I love it. I'm going to take San Fran minus 10. And that was agreed on by these guys. It's really hard to get these guys to take the favorite, let alone a 2-point favorite. I think these guys are right, though. San Fran is just in a different class than New England. New England, very good performance week 1 against the Bengals. We're looking at this. Super outclassed in the quarterback, super outclassed in the players. Really, first-year coach, super outclassed in the coaching, too. There's just no way that this New England team can keep up. They don't have the weapons or the defense to do it. San Fran minus 10. Ethan, Las Vegas minus 1.5.
Yeah, so we all agree Vegas is probably going to win the game. Just take them on the money line here. But tough travel spot for the Browns, who are off a tough loss at home against the Giants. The Raiders came out, Coach Pierce, I believe, came out and said the team made business decisions. Now we're going to make business decisions. At first, I thought that was a bad quote. I didn't want to bet the Raiders. Listening to some of the guys that I kind of listened to, they like the quote. They think it's a bet-on spot here for Vegas. So they're back home, motivated team here off an embarrassing loss to Carolina. We think the Raiders get it done.
Alrighty, Wyatt, Baltimore minus 2.5.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's on Buffalo. Buffalo's 3-0. Josh Allen is the second coming of Christ right now. His MVP odds are through the roof. I believe he's like plus 200, plus 250 now to win the MVP. But yeah, one of the few undefeated teams remaining. Baltimore obviously has a big win last week against Dallas. I'm a little worried about a potential hangover spot, but Baltimore always has one game a year where they just absolutely roll a team at home, and I think it's going to be this game, and we all think it's going to be this game against Buffalo. So I have Baltimore actually big, but I think they can cover a field goal at home.
Man, bang, 5 games out of the way already. That's why we're doing quick fire on these. Let's head into the first game that there's a little bit of dissension on. We have Minnesota heading to Green Bay. Green Bay is 2.5-point home favorites. Over-under set at 43.5. Ethan, why don't you start with this one?
Yeah, I like Minnesota plus the points here. I tried to jump in front of Minnesota last week. Did not work at all. Houston got their doors blown off of them. Tried to jump in front of Green Bay, too. That one didn't work. Even worse. So, I just think people are looking at Green Bay to come out firing with Jordan Love back, probably back in the lineup. I don't think that's confirmed yet. But if he's back, it's fading the star player their first week off of the injury. So I love that angle. Minnesota's just way better in most every stat. Yards per play, 6. Green Bay is second, so they're both top 6. Yards per play against, though, 6 for Minnesota. Green Bay 20th. Green Bay is also +7 in turnover margin, which is number 1 in the league. So I do expect that to regress. Points per game, Minnesota 3rd. Points per game allowed, Minnesota 2nd. So Minnesota's just a really good team. I think a lot better than what anyone thought they would be. And I'm not ready to step in front of them again here. I think this game is kind of a coin flip, so I'm going to take the point with Minnesota on the road.
Yeah, I'm going with Green Bay in this one. Minnesota does have a London game on deck. Also, this is a big divisional game, the first one of the year for these guys. So the line's kind of telling. I think that is 3 points in favor of the Packers, probably because of Love being back. But we've seen Willis. Willis is capable. It's a complete different offense, but Willis is capable of bringing these Packers to wins. He's done it twice now. Love is 0 for 1. Willis is 2-0. So I think the line's a little telling. I think it's a bad spot for Minnesota. Look ahead. Emotional. They're 3-0 right now, just coming off, win against San Fran, win against Houston. I think Green Bay is going to step in their way, and I think they're going to humble them a little bit. So I'll take Green Bay at Lambeau with the field goal.
I can see it going both ways. Minnesota just blowing the doors off of Houston and then beating San Fran, one of the best teams in the league. They're just not one of those teams I want to come in front of right now, and you're getting them with the plus points right now. Darnold's been playing out of his mind, which I do think probably at some point this season regresses a little bit towards the mean. Doesn't mean he's not still going to be good. So I like Minnesota in this one. I like him with the points. Maybe that defense is just better than we were expecting, but Minnesota seems like the real deal so far, so I'm going to take them with the points. Heading on to the next one, we got Pittsburgh heading to Indy to face the Colts. Colts are 1.5-point home dogs. Over-under set at 39.5. Wyatt, what do you think about this game?
Yeah, I hate this game. I really, really hate this game. Like the under quite a bit would be my go-to. I'm going to take Pittsburgh on the road. I think they're a slight favorite here. I'll take them to cover. They are a very public team, so I'm a little nervous about that. But Pittsburgh has a great defense. We all know that. Indy's offense has looked stagnant the last 2 weeks. Indy's defense is very bad. They couldn't stop the run against Green Bay last week. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the run this week. So I think Pittsburgh is going to keep it pretty black and white here, but just run the ball down. Love the unders. That's going to be my play. But yeah, I think Pittsburgh, I would lean them. I am not confident at all, but I would lean Pittsburgh at the -1.5 at Indy.
Yeah, I just lean Indy plus the points here at home. I'm just not bought into Pittsburgh, so I think fading the 3-0 Pittsburgh team that I don't think is very good in the next few weeks is probably going to be profitable. So I don't know if this is a game I'll bet, but I'm not that impressed with Pittsburgh. I mean, wins against Atlanta with Kirk's first start there at quarterback, Denver, and then the Chargers, who are two teams I'm not very high on at all. And then I think there's just some urgency for Indianapolis here. They did open up their schedule with 3 of their first 4 games at home. They're currently 1-2. This is their 3rd home game. So I think they really want to start 2-0 before having 2 divisional opponents on deck, both on the road. Just think it's a really big game for where Indy's going to end up here. And I know their offense has not looked good. Now they have to play arguably the best defense in football. But I think their offense has some potential here. I think they're going to work out the kinks. Richardson has only played now, I think, 7 games with this Colts team. So I think they're going to get it together. I don't know if it'll be this week, which is probably why I'm probably not going to bet it. But yeah, I'm kind of just looking to fade Pittsburgh and think Indy eventually is going to turn it on offensively. Also, Pittsburgh plays Dallas Sunday Night Football on deck. So kind of a nice little look-ahead spot there.
You're both spitting facts, so I've enjoyed being just the tiebreaker here. But I sided with Ethan last time. I'm siding with Wyatt this time. I like Pittsburgh. I think you guys might not know this, but do you know that this is Anthony Richardson, just his 21st game since high school? We're just gonna need to keep saying that after every game, every week. You know, I just think that Pittsburgh defense, if you shut down Jonathan Taylor and you put it all on Anthony Richardson's back, I think he's going to make some mistakes. I like Pittsburgh. I'm surprised how many people do like Pittsburgh, though. That is the one thing that does caution me. It's like, they haven't looked great, but along with what Wyatt was saying, I think this is just going to be a super low-scoring game, ugly, and they're just going to, like, 1.5 line is just probably because it's going to be decided by a field goal by somebody. Real low scoring, so I'm going to take Pittsburgh in this one. Just take the better defense.
Indy is a good teaser leg, probably.
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a really good point. Let's head to Denver. Going to New York to face the Jets. Jets are 7.5-point home favorites. Over-under set at 39.5. For this one, guys, I think I might be the one that's in disagreement here. I like the Jets. I just think that Denver, I was like, this is a really bad spot for Tampa. That run defense might get exposed a little bit without Vita Vea. They're going against the Jets now, which the Jets do have some banged up players too, but I just think that Jets defense is going to make rookie Bo Nix make some mistakes. And I can't go with a rookie quarterback making his 4th start against this defense. I can't do it. But Ethan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Jets here.
Oh, okay.
I think they could blow out Denver. I mean, Denver's still not good. They caught Tampa in a bad spot.
Right.
With a lot of injuries to that defense. Like you said, Vita Vea was out. Antoine Winfield was out. A lot of their secondary is banged up. So, you know, they looked good, but it was a terrible spot for Tampa there. So I'm not bought into to the Broncos. I think they come back down to earth. Jets have extra time off of the Thursday night game. They do have a London game on deck, so that worries me a little bit here. But yeah, I think the Jets are ultimately way better than Denver is. The Jets are probably a 8 to 9 win football team. Denver's realistically probably 5. So I think the Jets are way better. Their defense looked good against New England. I'm not convinced Denver's offense is any better than New England's is. So yeah, give me the Jets to absolutely roll in this one.
Yeah, so you guessed it. I'm the tiebreaker here, or not even the tiebreaker. I'm the outlier here. The more I'm looking at this, the more I realize I am on the complete wrong side. But I'll try to make a small little case here for Denver. Jets, like Ethan just mentioned, head into London. Even though Denver did win that game last week against the Bucs, I think the Jets, and I think especially Aaron Rodgers, knows that this is still a very bad team. So even though they did have a very impressive 26-7 win against Tampa, I still think the Jets might potentially overlook them here. It's going to be an uphill battle for Denver, though. A great secondary in New York, good run defense as well. So I have a hard time seeing anything get going with Denver, but it could just be a slight look ahead spot for the Jets. So I'm going to play on that theory as opposed to try to make an argument that the Jets have anyone worthwhile on their offense or defense. But yeah, the more I'm staring at this, I'm probably on the wrong side. But yeah, I'll take Denver. Hopefully the favorites continue to get smacked by Vegas. So I'll take them at the +7.5, whatever it's standing at. Also, decent teaser leg for the Jets.
Yeah.
I also love the under. 2 great defenses,
yes.
2 poor offenses.
Yep, 100% agree. Yep, Wyatt starting out with over a touchdown, so can't hate taking a underdog that much. Let's go to the next game where I do have a little bit of hatred for Wyatt in this one. That's the Bengals heading to Carolina to face the Panthers. Panthers are 4-point home dogs. Over-under set at 47. Wyatt, I don't know whose segment this is, but there's like some segment that's called "Splain Yourself," and that's where you're at right now.
I mean, my baby's just won outright. I can't give up on him now. I mean, give me him again. Give me him again. I told you I'm going to lose 17 units on this team. I don't care. It would be a great story. Again, I'm a big headline guy, thinking of future headlines. Cincy going 0-4. I mean, God, I know you have your hatred towards Cincy, Ben.
Yeah. Andy Dalton doing it.
I could love it. And yeah, Andy Dalton, he's the first and only quarterback this season to throw over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did in his first start, and I believe he threw 3 touchdowns in the first half. So I can't just throw my babies aside like that quick. So purely out of love for my boys, I got to go Carolina here on the cover.
Yeah, I'll keep this quick. No disrespect to your babies, Wyatt, but Carolina That is going to be the peak of their season. Okay, they're not ever going to look any better. They're not ever going to have a higher market value than they do right now. Cincy's not going to ever have a lower market value than they do right now. I mean, if you had this week 1, 100% of people would have been on Cincinnati minus 4.5. So I just think it's too much recency bias. Give me Cincinnati minus the short number. I think they're still, even though they look like ass, still the superior team.
I just want to say last week when I told you to take Panthers at the -6, I don't know what those odds would have been, but you're welcome because they blew out Vegas, man. I do think that their number ended with 6, so I was seeing something right there, just not the right spread number. Yeah, I'm with you. I just have in my notes section just all caps pissed. I think that's just what this Bengals team is. I think they're pissed off. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to now the Commanders and are 0-3. They're just mad, and I think it's going to be one of those like taking it out on your little brother, just going in and just smacking the hell out of the poor Panthers. Like I feel like this is a bad spot for them, coming off a win and they're feeling good, and then get to go home and just have Joe Burrow come in and throw 6 touchdowns and blow the brakes off you. So unfortunately, yeah, I'm with Cincy too. I think they get their first win here.
Let me butt in here. I hope this is the game. I hope this is the game that decides everything, because I seem to be on my own island here on a couple of these bets. And if this is the game that decides it all, you guys both have to not like whatever. You have to temporarily dye your hair orange when Andy Dalton wins this. It can wash off. It doesn't have to like last you a week. You can figure that. I don't know if that product exists, but if this is the deciding game that I win and you guys don't, orange hair or beard for Ethan.
Yeah, I got to step in quick too, Ben. If you're saying you're hoping Cincinnati smacks the stole out of Andy Dalton,
Yeah.
it's already been done. So they can't do that.
Hey, I can't dye my beard red, man. I already got a lot of red in it. I'm good. I'm already there, Wyatt. Let's talk about this next game. The Eagles head to Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers. Buccaneers are 2-point home underdogs. Over-under set at 44. Wyatt, what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm going with the Eagles here. They had a good win last weekend, I believe, against the Saints. Almost tried to blow it there. You know how Philly does it in the regular season and postseason. Just seems like a game that Philly bounces back. I think it might be a little too obvious to take Tampa after a terrible loss to Denver last week. But I like Philly here. Again, a little recency bias, big win for them, and a bad loss for Tampa. But yeah, Nick Sirianni has a way of, especially none of us believe in him, but has a way to get the belief of the Philly crowd. So maybe a big win against Tampa would start raising him up a little bit, only for him to lose to like Jacksonville in the next coming weeks or something like that to bring him back down to earth. But yeah, I'm going to have Philly to continue to get a win and potentially win this one over a field goal in Tampa, which is also a fishy line.
There he is. What up, Nick? What up, Nick?
Sirianni, man, that guy. Unbelievable. That guy's getting canned before the end of the year, but I do like Philly with you, Wyatt. Playoff revenge game. Tampa Bay ended Philly's season last year, first round of the playoffs. Fishy line, kind of like you said there. I think Philly is... I don't know what to say about Philly. It's not really a game I can bet. I mean, Nick Sirianni scares the hell out of me. He's kind of like the Chargers' old coach, Brandon Staley. It was tough to back that team because you just never knew what you were going to get. So I lean Philly here. I think ultimately they're the better team. They have a bye on deck, so their full-fledged focus is getting the win here, the playoff revenge. Tampa has a short week at Atlanta, divisional game on deck, Thursday night football. So a touch of a look ahead, but, one could say they were looking ahead last week as well. So maybe they're full-fledged focus. It's not a game I think I'll probably be getting involved in. But yeah, for the graphic, give me Philly in the playoff revenge spot. If Sirianni doesn't screw it up for us.
Well, if they both went Philly, then you already know who I'm on. Nick Sirianni said it best after the game last week. Nervous. I was nervous. I can't. I'm going to take Tampa here. This is against my traditional thing. I usually think Philly, sorry, I was still doing my Nick Sirianni impression. I do think that Philly is the better team. And so I usually always like going with that team, but I just think Tampa Bay can take advantage of that defense. Both these teams are pretty banged up right now, though, which does make me nervous because we saw Devontae Smith go out. A.J. Brown's been missing. Tampa Bay, they've had a couple injuries across that line, but, man, I feel like I can't hop off Baker now. And they're at home with the points. I agree. It is a fishy line. Maybe I should be reading that more, but right now I can't get behind Philly that just barely beat the Saints, but the Saints looked unstoppable and Philly was able to kind of put a little damper on that. So that's a tough game for me. I just got to be on the side of Big Dick Baker. All right, let's head to Washington, who is going to Arizona to face the Cardinals. Cardinals are 3.5-point home favorites. Over-under sit at 50. Ethan, what do you think?
I believe I gave out Arizona for the side. I'm not even going to touch on it, though. It's not a bet I'm looking to make. Love the over in this game. These are probably two of the biggest over teams on the year. Yards per play, 8th and 9th. 8th for Washington, 9th for Arizona. Yards per play against. Washington's given up the 31st most yards per play against. Arizona, 19th. Points per game, 5th and 4th. Again, Washington, 5th. Arizona, 4th. Points per game against. Washington, 29th. And Arizona, 18th. Now, Arizona didn't have a high-scoring game against Detroit last week, even though it was up in this 50 range as well. However, I think Detroit is a dead nuts under team, one of the more under teams on the year, which is a complete flip from last year. I think the markets are slow in recognizing that. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but completely different offense than what we were running last year. So I'm not super shocked that game ended up staying under by quite a bit. But, you know, that also skews these numbers for Arizona. So put up a ton of points against the Rams, whose backup defense, which they're mostly playing with, is probably somewhat equivalent to what the Commanders are working with. Jane Daniels looks really good offensively for Washington. They're moving the ball. They've scored on every drive against Cincinnati, been putting up a lot of points. So I love this game in a complete shootout. Yeah, both quarterbacks should be fun, scrambling out of the pocket, making ridiculous throws. Should be a really fun game to watch, in my opinion, especially if you like points. So, yeah, I think this one soars over 50.
We got quite the dilemma going on here, quite the situation. We might have a very similar CJ Stroud and Bryce Young situation going on here. Jan Daniels, he is looking like he should have been the number one overall pick. Granted, he did just throw his first touchdown pass last week, but he threw two of them, I believe. And then, Caleb Williams is having his trouble in Chicago, but Jaden Daniels looks pretty damn good. Looks very comparable to like a young Lamar. I like what I'm seeing. I'm going to take the commies. Was not super impressed with Arizona last weekend. But I agree with Ethan. I think the over is a fantastic play. Going to be very fun to watch if you do have that bet. I think this is going to be a player prop galore type of game. So load up those same game parlays. But yeah, I'm going to take Washington in a tight one. I don't know if they win it, but I think they can keep it within 3 points.
You said that Jaden Daniels looks good. I'd tell him to keep that gross-ass elbow away from me. Give me Arizona minus the 3.5. My big thing is Vegas here. I'm seeing 46% of the bets are on the Cardinals, but 67% of the money. So I'm seeing a lot of sharp money coming on them. Other than that, like you guys kind of said it, this should be a high-scoring game, a close game. The sharp money is the only reason that pulled me over to Arizona. I apologize. I did skip one game, so we will go back to that. New Orleans is heading to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Falcons are a 1.5-point favorite. Over-under sit at 42. Guys, I have Atlanta because right now it's a 1.5 line, but 91% of the money are on the Saints. At a 1.5 line, like it feels like this should be a coin flip game. So you got 90% of money on one side. I feel like I have to be on the other side if it's going to be this close because there's no way Vegas is going to want to lose that. So I took the Falcons. Also, the Saints have looked much better this season than the Falcons have, and they're the favorites. It just kind of seems like an odd line. The money's weird. So I'm on the Falcons. Wyatt, what are you on?
Tricky game. Obviously, Saints had to come down to earth game last week. Atlanta is keep it close with just about everyone. They were within a touchdown against Pittsburgh. They beat the Eagles, and then were within I think they lost by 5 to the Chiefs. Maybe I'm wrong there. Was within a touchdown with the Chiefs. Both teams have prime time coming up. The Saints have Kansas City on Monday night. The Falcons have Tampa Bay on Thursday, so short week for Atlanta. But this is not a look-ahead spot because this is a huge divisional game for both of these teams. I think the Saints are better, and I might just be looking at the first 2 weeks as opposed to last week. But I just think the Saints are better. The Falcons just kind of seem like they're still trying to figure it out. Kirk Cousins, he's making some decent plays. We saw Darnell Mooney get really involved last game, but it still seems like he's trying to figure out who his guys are. And I think the Saints and Derek Carr, they kind of have that a little bit more chemistry. Alvin Kamara is fantastic at the moment. So is Bijan. I just think the Saints are a little bit better. I think I'll take them at the +1.5, but I don't love it. You are correct. It's a very public bet. A lot of public money and bets coming in on the Saints. So they are the public side. I just think they're the better team, so I'm going to go with them in this game.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm kind of going with Atlanta for the same reason, but I think Atlanta's the better team. Wyatt mentioned the spot for both teams are fairly similar here, both off the loss, both on prime time coming up. So nothing really is pointing me towards one way or the other, but Atlanta's win total coming into the year, I believe, was 10.5. Saints was 7.5. Markets usually don't get things that wrong. So I do think when the season shakes out, Atlanta's still going to be a 2 or 3 win better team than what New Orleans is. New Orleans looked horrible last week against Philly, whose defense is not very great. And then Atlanta, I mean, you kind of mentioned it, Wyatt. Kirk is just starting to find his rhythm with Mooney and some of the other guys. London, I think he just gets better and better. He's such a just professional just in everything he does. Even some of his quotes after the game against Kansas City, he was like, man, I was happy we got the opportunity to play a team that good, even though we lost. Like, it was just a great opportunity for this team, and just really love the way that Kirk carries himself. So it's a team I just think is going to continue to get better and better, and I do think they end up close to that 10-win team that they were marketed as at the beginning of the season. I'm just still not super high on New Orleans, so I do like Atlanta here, but again, it's just not really a game that I'm particularly interested in playing.
No, let's head to the last game that we're going to be covering in this episode. That's going to be Kansas City heading out to Los Angeles to face the Chargers. Chargers are a 7.5-point home dog. Over-under is set at 40. I'm going to be greedy, and I'm going to start with this one too. I'm the only one on Kansas City here, and I understand that is crazy. Like, I'm going to admit that is crazy. So it is a divisional game, and it's over a touchdown. It's at Los Angeles. My big thing is just the Chargers injuries, and that's just what I wanted to say out there. This is not a play on Kansas City. This is a play against LA. Herbert re-aggravated that ankle injury, so he's not going to be as mobile, and the Chargers might be down both their starting tackles. So that is just against that Chiefs defensive line. That's going to be a nightmare. Derwin James is suspended, so he's not going to be able to play. Joey Bosa's injured. So if the Chargers could possibly be without their top 5 biggest guys, that's just scary against this Chiefs team. And once again, they're gonna see us again at Arrowhead, so they're gonna have a chance for revenge. I just see Kansas City going in and smacking a team that's just really, really banged up. What do you guys think, Ethan?
Yeah. So you said I'm on the Chargers plus the points here. I mean, the teams in the division just always play Kansas City tough. You know that as well as anybody. The injuries do scare me. The Derwin James suspension. I'm not super gung-ho about the Chargers like I have been in the past when they've still had like Keenan Allen and Austin Eckler and a better version of Justin Herbert. But I just think it's too many points. I mean, Kansas City 3-0 with 3 huge wins. I mean, the first 2, Baltimore and Cincy, are 2 of their biggest non-conference or non-division rivals of years past. And then to go out on Sunday Night Football and get the win in Atlanta, a game where a lot of people thought Atlanta would win, including myself. So it's just 3 huge wins. They have Monday Night Football on deck against New Orleans. It's a road game. It's a tougher travel spot. I just think it's way too many points. Kansas City is won by a combined 13 points, and 7 of those 13 came with the Baltimore toe out of the end zone. So easily they could have won that game by 1 point. So they're only averaging winning by 4 points. Now those 3 teams they've played are all better than the Chargers, so I'll give you that. But just ultimately think it's too many points. Think it's a 1-score game. Kansas City probably does pull out the outright win. Chargers also going into the bye, so they're going to give their biggest effort here to get the dub. So just ultimately think it's too many points to take Kansas City. And even though it's a divisional game, just not sure if they really care as much as maybe they should.
Yeah, plain and simple, just injured player theory. With Herbert probably questionable or limited or not even playing, just got to back the Chargers in this. I do have Kansas City as my survivor pick. I have no doubt in my mind Kansas City wins this game. I just think it's going to be closer than 8 points. And Ben, you probably know this. When's the last time the Chargers beat the Chiefs? Have they beat them anytime soon recently?
Yeah,
a couple years ago,
they beat us. They beat us at Arrowhead. Mike Williams had like a touchdown.
Okay, but it doesn't happen often, and I just really can't see it happening. So I do think the Chiefs win out. I don't think the Chiefs lose this, but yeah, it just seems like a touchdown win, maybe a 6-point win. I do like the under. I think it's gonna be a snooze fest. It's not gonna be a great game. This is Monday or Sunday night, right?
No, I think Baltimore Buffalo is right.
Baltimore Sunday night, right? Yep. Yeah, it's a 4 p.m. I guess, but yeah, not going to be a great game. But yeah, I'll take Chargers at the +8. It simply injured player theory. I ran that on a long time for just the injured player theory, so I apologize for that. That's why we have the shot clock now, because we just get on loops like this. I don't even know where I started and where I ended on that one. No idea.
If you want to talk about recent divisional wins, maybe some of them are more recent than others, but Mahomes' records against these dudes like 12-2, 14-1. Like, I mean, he just destroys this division. Yeah, I mean, I honestly can't believe I'm taking the Chiefs with that much of a spread, because if anybody knows how little they cover, I'm one of those guys, because every game's a freaking heart attack. Now they're supposed to win by a touchdown. I can absolutely see what you guys are saying, but man, it's a lot of injuries. We'll see. I do love Harbaugh, though. I'm a big Harbaugh guy. Getting into the meat and potatoes, guys, we have our survivor pick. We only agreed on 5 of them, and then I believe we're going Raiders. Is that correct? Raiders -1.5, or are we going Raiders money line?
Let's just go Raiders money line.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you said survivor, but squad ride.
We have our survivor pick.
You stupid.
Yes. Yep. If I said survivor, I'm a dumbass, and I'm at squad ride. So thank you for pointing that out.
I mean, if you want to pick Vegas as your survivor, be my guest. But...
Man. All right. How about the big 3? Wyatt, let's go to you this week.
Yeah, apologize in advance. I got a little square. I'm desperate for some wins, so they're a little juicy, but they're still okay. I think the worst one is -145, but I got all money lines. I got the Bears money line at -145, got the Ravens money line -130, and the Packers money line -140. So I apologize for the extra juice. I will make it up to you. I'll have some juicy ones next week, some plus money plays next week. But yeah, getting a little safe. I need a couple wins to get me on track.
Guys, we need it for Instagram.
You know what? Yeah, Chiefs money line. Add it.
Yeah, throw it in
Chiefs
there.
money line, San Fran money line,
Yep.
Jets money line.
Just give me 3 units, Niners money line, lock it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm going to go 2 totals on the board here today and then 1 spread. I'm going to take Cincy -4, which we're currently sitting at right now, to blow out Carolina. I'm going to take the over 50 in that game I mentioned between Washington and Arizona. It's probably my favorite bet on the board. And then I'm going to take the under. I apologize. It's a game we haven't talked about. We'll talk about it tomorrow, but you can get in early if you want, although I think you can wait because public money pours in on the overs. Monday Night Football, but under 47, Detroit, Seattle.
Love it, man. I never do player props, but I threw one in there. Kelsey anytime touchdown at +117, and I can't tell you guys how much I love this. I remember so distinctly when Kelsey had 4 touchdowns in Los Angeles against the Chargers. Just absolutely killed them. The guy that's usually on Kelsey is Derwin James. He's out for this game. Kelsey also has been just so not involved, and the tabloids are starting to come out now too, like all this negative stuff. Yeah. Yeah. He's doing really bad this year. I think this is a game where even if he doesn't have a ton of yards, I do think he gets in the end zone this week. Quiets it down a little bit. I think Mahomes is going to make a point of it. Some of these tabloids quiet down a bit for his buddy. Then I got a teaser pulling out of Ethan's book. I got Seattle +10, and I got San Fran -4. Like both those quite a bit. And then I got Pittsburgh, Indy under the 39.5. I believe that was Wyatt, you were talking about that too. Just that game seems like the biggest under. Maybe it's a trap, but I love it. I love it. I did go 0-3 last week, so just heads up before you place those wagers. Do your own research. But thank you guys for watching. We're back on Monday with another episode, another doubleheader week. So we're going to have 2 games for you. Make sure you guys tune in then. If you haven't yet, head over to Fantasy Sports Advice Network so you can get custom fantasy football advice for your team from us and other experts in the community. And head over to Sharps as well to see the sports betting platform for sports bettors to post all their picks and interact with them as well. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you guys on Monday, and these 2 will be with you also for a live. And Better and Green, you guys have to subscribe because I'm with you guys on Tuesday for all the fantasy football stuff. I mean, we're posting stuff nearly daily, so absolutely smash that subscribe button so you can see all of our content. Ethan.
NHL preseason is here, so Ben, we're gonna be back on with NHL content coming up. College basketball is coming up. NBA is coming up. It's full swing, full blown sports. MMA year round. I mean,
yeah,
no better time to subscribe than literally today.
Literally today. I love that you said that, Ethan. Also, I'm gonna have to teach Ethan to edit these videos, or at least the hockey videos, because either I'm going to kill myself or my wife's going to kill me. It's one of those two. There's nothing in between. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace, guys.
Later, guys.
See you guys.
You better start listening to the Better and Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? To Better and Green, eh? Listen in and cash out. That's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top, eh? Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast. Better and Green.